Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Chrissy Mayer podcast. We are on iTunes, YouTube, Spotify, and SoundCloud. And if you're listening to us right now on iTunes, please go and leave a 5-star review. For example, here's a really great review from Mitch Covey. His review is called Great Podcast. A great mix of interviews. I enjoy the different topics. A great break from the heavy political ones I usually listen to as I drive around all day. Thanks for breaking up the boredom of my day. Aw. Thanks, Mitch. Shout out to my trucker fans and I guess anybody who drives a car, which is a lot of you. This episode is brought to you by Cushy Dreams. Cushy Dreams brings you a full lineup of CBD products. I just want you guys to check out their website right now. Basically, I was like an anxious mess before discovering these guys, and they have got so many different strains. I call them strains, but whatever. They're different indica sativa blends here, like energy, create, hustle, dream, peace, relax. Really, whatever you want to do with your day, Cushy Dreams has a strain of smokable CBD for you. It comes in these tins right here, like the bud, the flower, and also these pre-wrapped or pre-rolled CBD joints. I have some right here. They had this special deal going on, and look how cute they come in this cute little thing. You could save it and put, I don't know, jewelry in here after. Looks, feels, smells just like weed, just like high quality marijuana, but it's not. It's CBD. It's legal in all 50 states. Join the men and women who are sick of their vapes, sick of their gummies. For me, this made a big difference. I felt like my mind and body calmed down right away within 5 minutes or so. I used to do like liquid CBD, but this stuff is the real deal. It ships right to your door. I said legal in all 50 states. Yeah, check it out, guys. Go to cushydreams.com. That's KUSHYDR. EAMS.com. Use the promo code CMP. You're going to get 20% off your whole order plus free shipping. Get on it right now, boys and girls. This episode is also brought to you by AdamandEve.com. Look, Christmas has come and gone, and that doesn't mean that you also don't have to stop coming. No, I screwed that up. I screwed that read up. Check it out. This is not too much nudity. Go to AdamandEve.com. It's the #1 adult toy superstore for a reason. Get something for your girl. Get something for your wife. Get something for your sister if you guys are close like that. If Santa didn't bring you what you wanted, go ahead and get it for yourself. Go to AdamandEve.com right now. Use the promo code CMP. You're going to get almost any item online here for up to 50% off, plus free shipping, guys. They have everything. And I mean, even sex furniture. So, and even if you've got room in your house for a sex swing, go nuts. Goals, right? Go to AdamandEve.com right now. Use the promo code CMP. Get your discount. Get your orgasms. Get it all, guys. We can have it all. Anyway, yeah, just want to recap before I start this episode. I was in DC this past week at the March for America. People have called it several different things: Trump rally, March for America, Stop the Steal, whatever. I was there. A lot of people have given me shit for being there, ranging from just judgment to, you know, calling for my arrest. I really don't care what you think. I was there exercising my First Amendment rights, covering the event, seeing it for myself, taking photos, taking videos. If you disagree, that's great. We can agree to disagree, but that's why we're doing this episode, basically. And I was there with a couple of other folks who were there, and maybe they faced similar backlash for being in DC. Maybe they didn't. But we're here to talk to them right now. We have Mr. Tim Young. How are you? And Kevin Downey Jr.
How's it going?
Hi.
And Jessica Palazzo.
And Jessica. Yes. And Jessica. Kevin, can you turn your phone horizontal?
Oh. Yes.
Oh. while they're figuring that out.
Yeah.
Hello, Tim. I know I did not introduce you with the gravitas you deserve. How would you explain yourself? I mean, I know I know you were on a past episode like months ago, but for people,
it was like a month ago. What do you think?
Really? Was it a month ago?
Yeah. Also, my beard is ridiculous. I usually shave, but since it's like COVID and I haven't had to be on screen other than for you, I've let my beard go for like 4 months now, which I've never done before in my life. I'm very excited about it. This has to go in like a month. It goes.
The beard looks good. You're like whoa, my light just fell. You look like a man. You know what I mean? You're like
a man. I look like Santa. Like I'm headed towards Santa. My face is not this. It really. Anyway, whatever. It doesn't matter. I'm a comic. I'm a political person. People listen to me. It's a whole thing. I don't want to say that I'm an influencer, but a lot of folks on Capitol Hill listen to me, and they have consulted me a lot for things. And I happen to be around in DC a lot. I've read a column for the Washington Times. I'm on SiriusXM almost all the time. I'd call myself a SiriusXM personality, SiriusXM patriot. I'm on an awful lot hosting for them. So yeah, I'm all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, he's out there. He's everywhere. And excellent beard, excellent dude, excellent guy, great lay, all the things. I don't know about that last one, but I'm sure he's great. No.
Moderate.
I introduce people by how I think they would be in bed. Comedian Kevin Downey Jr. also joining in at the very last minute is his fiancee Jessica. I've known and met Kevin and Jessica through several of the Compound Media secret shows that we've had throughout the summer. The fans have thrown these really great free secret shows in their backyards and tennis courts, like really wherever we can make a show happen. So very, very, very funny comics who were also in DC last week. And I guess I wanted to bring everybody together because I was really shocked. I was really shocked at the backlash I got just for being in DC. And I was there in November. I was there in December. I figured, if it weren't for the folks who busted into the Capitol, I figured, what the mainstream media is going to cover this the way they've covered every other rally and do a flyover at 6 a.m. and be like, oh, look, there's 40 people here. It's a non-event. It's a non-thing. And I really figured that was going to be the way they were going to treat the rally in DC last week. And a few crazy people broke in. And but the fact that I had what I noticed is a couple days after, I'm posting, and as we all know, because we were there, the Wi-Fi was terrible. We weren't able to post things in real time. We weren't able to get information in real time. It was confusing. You're also trying to not lose the people who you came with. You're also like, can I find somewhere to go to the bathroom? Who knows? It was cold. There were a lot of factors that made things difficult last Wednesday. But what I saw, I think more so the next day and the next couple days after, people would, and by people, I mean other comedians, mostly in the New York City comedy scene, who knows how much they've actually worked in the last year. Maybe this is the result of just a lot of time on their hands. But I would notice, independent comedy show bookers and some other comics posting and retweeting. The things I saw really disgusted me. People saying, oh, she's storming the Capitol. She's horrible. She's a domestic terrorist. People trying to at me at the FBI, literally people calling for my arrest just for the fact that I was in DC and kind of there. I mean, I don't have as many creds as a Tim or or even someone who's known for just that, but I was there to cover the event, to see for myself. And even that gets made fun of. Well, she's just hiding the fact that she's right wing. And it was very upsetting. And then a slew of people, and by people, I mean comics. So it's call them what you will, calling for me to be, and I know this sounds really shallow because I'm talking about Facebook unfriending, but messaging mutual friends, getting people to unfriend me on Facebook. I saw messages going around tagged in things that said, well, we got to remember when New York City comedy comes back, we got to make a list of all the people, of all the comics who were seen in DC at this rally. And my name was on there. And then I saw a picture of you, Kevin. somebody outed you. And I was like, oh, great. Somebody I can talk to about this other than, of course, Tim. And I was shocked. I was disappointed. I had people messaging me at all hours of the day and night being like, what is this about? And then I have to explain, like, yeah, people already don't like me because of I have a show on Compound Media and people have their preconceived notions of that. And it was a lot. And I was like shocked and saddened and disappointed at like kind of my fellow supposed comedians who are, I thought, just as passionate about free speech as I am. So I just don't know. I want to hear, Tim, Kevin, Jessica, what kind of backlash did you get from peers, family, friends, just for being there?
Who do you want to start? I can go. You want me to go?
Yeah.
I'm an easy one. I got nothing.
Nothing.
Or nothing. Nobody cared that I went. They expected me to be there anyway because they know that I've been linked with the Trump administration already, and what my role's been in Congress, and I've been a very active Republican in town, and being a radio commentator and working for the Washington Times. So they expected me to show up to the Capitol and participate. And I've not met one person, nor do I know anyone personally who was okay with people like breaking into the Capitol. And there are a lot of aspects of that really pissed me off about what was going on. Not only that, but the coverage afterwards when, it's being used to basically scream Orange Man bad for the remaining 8 days or whatever of Trump's administration and try to get him impeached one more time, which is a little bit ridiculous. And they're investigating this one. I mean, it's suddenly like the FBI decided to investigate something as opposed to, when Minnesota was burned to the ground. Seattle, have they arrested everybody who took over 8 blocks in Seattle and Chaz and had their own autonomous zone? You want to talk about insurrection? That's an insurrection. You want to talk about, people were murdered there. They were handing out guns out of the back of a trunk. They were burning the city down. They actually held part of the city captive. And I don't know of any mass arrests or any kind of national manhunt to find any of those people. They don't seem to give a shit about any of those people. So, my issue with all of this, again, I'm blowing way past the question that you asked me. My issue with all of this is the double standard, right? So I think violence is violence. I think destruction of federal property is destruction of federal property. Granted, this time it was the cathedral of, our country, really, in the U.S. Capitol, and I feel a lot of reverence for that building. But violence is violence. So why hasn't everyone been treated equally, as they are treating these people who entered the Capitol?
Yeah. And it's like the type of feedback or what we see on the mainstream media, it is enough to make you crazy. I was just telling this to somebody else. Like, it feels like you're in an abusive relationship with everybody in news. It feels like almost everyone in politics telling you that what you're seeing and hearing and physically experiencing by those of us who were in DC is wrong, and that we need to accept their how they thought the events went down. Because it's like, I was there. I didn't see any of this craziness. I saw hundreds of thousands of people just standing around with flags. It couldn't have been more peaceful. I was blown away with how little I saw. No litter. And I was like, this is like, there's no garbage cans. There's all these people, everyone's eating snacks, but there was no trash on the floor. I'm still blown away by that. And all I saw was, I saw people, we were marching to the Capitol, which was a planned march point, by the way. We weren't inspired by anything that Trump had said to just go down there and storm it. It's like, no, it was on our little phones, our graphics of how the events were going to go down. It's like, we're going to go 1:00 at the Capitol. And as we're marching down, Trump supporters are thanking the cops, waving to them, thanking, couldn't have been more respectful. So it really pisses me off to see people demonize folks that were there doing nothing wrong, which was 99.999% of people.
So check this out. Speaking of no garbage on the ground.
Yeah, you just reminded me. I totally forgot about this guy, this like really old guy. He was just like this sweet old man, and he was walking around with a bag and literally picking up like cigarette butts and napkins and anything that was garbage on the floor. He was bending down, this old man bending down to pick it up and put it in a garbage bag. And he did that everywhere. And it was just like really beautiful to see that.
Yeah.
I kind of felt like a piece of shit for like not thinking to do that. All this poor guy, he probably has like arthritis and stuff. And I don't know. You just reminded me of that.
You don't think to bring a, your stick with the point at the end of it. Like, you just, the average person isn't thinking to bring that.
Oh, he was picking it up with his hand.
Yeah, with his own
hands.
hands.
God. Well then, he's better than me. Yeah.
He was just a homeless guy that was going to use those cigarettes later.
Yeah, he's just
DC. I'm sorry you guys aren't familiar with the homeless problem in DC, but they look a little classier here.
Yeah, they're definitely different than our homeless here in New York City, but every town has a flavor. So I don't know, like Kevin, were you seeing yourself tagged in various posts? Were you seeing, were you getting the sense that, wow, I'm being outed by my sort of fellow comedians, that I was just out doing something? Like, you could name even more people that were at BLM or Antifa, whatever, riots, marches this whole summer.
Yeah, I had a few people call me a traitor, an insurrectionist, stuff like that, for walking around with a flag that says "Keep on Trumping." That's how tough I am. I'm such a crazy person. There's the woman I think you were talking about. I've never heard of her. Some open micer who said, "We need a list of all the comics who were there."
Yeah,
and then we should never book them. You were on her list. Colazo was on. I was on, and I've never heard of her. I went to her page. I just wrote, "I've never heard of you. You can't afford me anyway."
Yeah, and I'm looking at the comment thread, and one other girl writes on the picture of both of us. She writes, "I knew her ass would be there." I'm like, who the fuck are you, though?
Are you?
Like, I even met you. You knew my ass would be there? Like, who are you?
Are we allowed to curse on this?
Yes, please. By all means.
Okay.
Curse away.
All right, cool. I wasn't sure. But yeah, there's been a little of that. But then I just spent 3 days in Facebook jail because I posted a picture of Jessica and I marching. And I said, Jessica and I are marching for the rights of everyone, even the Nazis that are calling us names and trying to get us banned from clubs. And they took that down and gave me a three days in the Hooskow because I used the word Nazis.
They can say whenever they're talking about us.
Yeah.
Yeah,
absolutely.
That's what really would drive people crazy. It's like, it's so unjust and unequal. And like, I think maybe it was Tim or somebody else posted a Nancy Pelosi tweet from 2 years ago, like referring to people who had stormed the Capitol, people who are just simply participating in democracy. So I just worry that there's been double standards for a long time now, but I feel like they're really starting to grate on people. And it's like, I feel like this is how you create folks who...
Well, they haven't stopped antagonizing, and that's one of the big problems from both sides. There's a lot of antagonizing. A lot of people, a lot of Twitter keyboard warriors like to bother people. But in this one, the double standards are resulting in a lot of people going to jail and being hunted down by the FBI that I'm not sure need to be hunted down by the FBI. We'll see who ends up getting arrested and what they actually charge them with. Of course, they're going to get hit with trespass. But then if you're in the back of the line of people going to the Capitol, and again, I'm going to play devil's advocate here. If I'm an attorney for these people, I was trained as a defense attorney. If you have Capitol guards holding the doors open and you walk in and they're not stopping you, maybe somebody in the back of the line goes, some grandmother, because I saw some woman that, like, the meme is they're calling her Aunt Tifa. She looks like some 70-year-old woman holding an American flag.
God, I gotta find that. Yeah.
Yeah, like that's inside the Capitol in the I think it was in the Rotunda. But I see her and I'm like, you're telling me that lady was going to storm the Capitol and cause violence? I don't know her. That's making an assumption. But I would imagine if you're in the back of a line and you see a bunch of people pushing into the Capitol, you're just going to walk in. So
exactly. Yeah, she was like this old. I've been dying to find a picture, but she was just like this little old lady, like waving a flag. She does not look like somebody who had to push her way in at all.
So
yep, she's a terrorist.
So I'm watching your video here. It looks like you're at the back of the Capitol where we were, because we saw that flag.
Yeah.
Now, we were in that vicinity. We saw a guy roughly 69 who had been, I don't know if he was pepper sprayed or tear gassed, but he's not storming the castle with a sword in his hand.
Yeah.
He just has a point to make. And to further that point, a lot of people, we were down there with a friend of mine who he was watching on the news. He wasn't at the Capitol, and he was furious because we didn't know. All we knew, we didn't know there was any violence or anything. And he was like, I can't believe these people went into.
Were you on this side? I'm wondering where you guys were at, because I think that I was at the north side of the Capitol building. Were you guys on the other side?
We were the side facing the Washington Monument.
Huh. Okay. I guess
we were. See where that flag is? We were right there, right in that vicinity.
Yeah. I was on the other side of the Capitol where it was quiet. So there were people on the steps, but basically a block and a half away, there's a Pete's Breakfast, or I always forget the name of it, Pete's Diner. That's literally a block and a half from the Capitol, was open, and people were eating breakfast or whatever brunch on the streets at tables. So that's a whole thing.
So you know what I wanted to tell you, Chrissy? We stopped at a rest area on the way back, and my friend was like, I can't believe people went in. That was wrong. And I said, you know what? We've been marching peacefully for a long time, and we didn't know a cop had been killed yet. And of course, we're against that.
No, we didn't know there was any violence going on. We didn't see any of that.
But I explained to him, I said, it's no more Mr. Nice Guy. Like, we don't want people to die, but that's why this happens. And we were talking to people at the rest area going up 95. It was all Trumpers, and they all said the same thing. I'm so sick of peacefully marching because they're walking on us. They're burning cities down and getting away with it. And now they're mad at us because we walked into, the Capitol. Again, we had no idea anyone had been killed yet.
Yeah.
But I think you find a lot of people are done. They're just done with, marching peacefully. And then you're stealing our president anyway. People are pissed now. And I think now that people are getting censored, you're going to see people get very, very angry. And
well, that's
I think
part
the
of
left is making a mistake.
That's part of the antagonizing of saying. Listen, when you're watching,
it's an observation.
Well, I'd like to say it's not a threat. Okay.
Thank you, sweetie.
Yeah, no, listen, I personally don't know anybody who wanted to storm the Capitol or does want to get violent now, which is interesting because I'm right in the middle of everything, and I think there's a different perspective being inside the Beltway, a lot more like I am, and the people on the outside that feel like they're not heard. I just feel like it's just another day. And a lot of folks, you could tell, so after I went to the other side of the Capitol and filmed, and I could have stopped and got coffee with a couple other people who were eating their, omelets on the street. I went to Whole Foods that's 4.5 blocks away and got lunch like nothing was happening, and people were walking their dogs. It was just another day like nothing was going on. But one of the problems with all of this, and what people aren't realizing, is that there's this constant antagonizing from the left. And again, that's one of the reasons that certain members of Congress were cautioning against impeaching Trump again, is that you have a lot of these angry people who feel like they're not heard. They're being silenced on social media. This is like compounding over and over again. You silence Trump, you silence other people, you impeach him again. You have commentators on CNN who constantly badger and constantly pick. And there has not been, it's like a constant bullying. And I described it to a friend of mine the other day as, you can walk up to a good friend of yours and just start poking them on the chest. And the first couple of minutes, or not minutes, like 10 seconds, they go, what are you doing? Whatever, buddy. About 30 seconds in, they go, what the hell are you doing? And about a minute in, they snap your finger off. And that's what I'm really worried about with a lot of people. I don't want violence. I never want violence. I got yelled at. I don't even want to tell you all the names I was called on Parler and on the radio for saying that I don't want violence and I don't want it to come to that. I want this to be solved through traditional means. And I was hoping that people would, object to things and that the court cases would be heard. But, it's just very hard. And I don't understand why people on the left don't understand that you can only antagonize people for so much. They're not getting in their social circles when they go out to a bar and get their martini after their TV hit or whatever. They're not seeing the people that they touch. They've been in these circles and on social media, they're getting the likes and retweets that they get over and over again. So when you hear somebody that has been doing that for 4 years and continues to do that, and Anderson Cooper, who says, people are going to go back to their Olive Garden and what was it? Whatever it is, Holiday Inn afterwards, because it's beneath him, because he thinks that they're trash, and that's something that trash would do to him. There's only so much that people will take and continue to put up with. And then they, on the same hand, those people are the ones that say, oh, we should unite. Yeah, listen, we know you're full of shit. We know you hate these people. You have the head of ABC News saying he wants to cleanse Trump supporters. And this is a real problem. They see these people as beneath them when everybody's equal in this country. It's annoying, and unfortunately, I can see where a lot of people are thinking violence. I don't want it to happen. I hate the concept of it. No one should do it. Like, it sickens me. I felt sick the other day seeing the Capitol raided. But this is a real problem. You can only antagonize people so much. You would never say this stuff to people's faces either. That's the other thing. It's a lot of these keyboard warriors, these TV commentators who don't think. Like, my rule is, if I wouldn't say it to you, to your face in person, you shouldn't say it. And that's just where a lot of these people think that they're benevolent and they can do whatever they want. We're in just a real bad situation in the country of people who don't understand where other people are coming from.
Yeah, and it's been basically solidified by the media and all the kind of, Democratic officials. This rhetoric is totally okay on the left. And we've heard of horrible things said by Democrats over the last few years. Like, was it Maxine Waters being like, if you see anybody in a restaurant, make them uncomfortable, tell them they're not wanted here,
Get a crowd together.
Get a crowd, punch them in the face, like
Kamala Harris. Harris talking about the George Floyd riots, saying people should beware, and that warning regular citizens, people should beware, and telling those people they should continue doing what they're doing. I forget what the exact quote is, but it was, and then having a bailout fund for rioters. Why would you go to jail? You'd be breaking a law. So obviously you're doing something that's not free speech protest, right? You're doing something criminal. So they're encouraging criminal behavior with these funds to bail out protesters. How is that not incitement?
Yeah, there's no consequences. We got your back. We're paying for your legal fees. We'll bail you out of jail. None of us had it, or nobody at the rally last week had any kind of a fund, and that's just what's different. And I feel bad for the folks who might be getting arrested. It's like, yeah, there's nobody coming to bail them out. They just did it from their own heart because exactly like Tim's saying, like, they've been made to feel crazy for the last few years, and they've been poked, and it's really horrible. And I don't know how we can come back from this, because
you know what I saw today? Enrique Tarrio, the leader of the Proud Boys, the Afro-Cuban guy who leads the white supremacists.
Well, they're not white supremacists.
No, not at all. That's the joke. I mean, he's a black guy from Cuba. He started a GoFundMe to bail people out if they get busted.
Oh, that'll be banned immediately. That's where that goes. It's a good setup for the double standard to be exposed yet again.
Yeah. It's not GoFundMe. It's a different site.
Oh, okay.
Because we know GoFundMe is going to rip it down. So whatever site they're using is...
Yeah, but there is one.
Yeah.
Enrique Tarrio has one.
Wow.
Well, and I hate to say this, but there are a lot of grifters on the right who should own up to some of the responsibility they have with the stuff and this violence too. Because on the same hand, that's only half of the story, is people being antagonized constantly and being cut off. But on the same hand, they're being given false hope by people who, listen, if you're hearing from some guy in the middle of the country that he's got secret information and the big thing is coming, he doesn't know shit. And I've been in the system for a long time. I screamed and I cussed a lot when Texas lost or didn't even lose. Their case wasn't even heard against the election irregularities that they brought with the multiple other states, because I think that was the big case. That was the big one, that you can't have an executive unilaterally change the way that voting happens. It has to happen through the legislature. And I think it was unconstitutional what those states did. But you have these people who are like, the big thing is coming and Mike Pence will be overthrown and all of this stuff is happening. And then you have people who live and breathe that line of whatever hope that is being given. And I believe, poor Ashley Babbitt, look, she shouldn't have been there, but she shouldn't have been shot. No one should have been shot in that Capitol. No one should have been killed in that Capitol. Everything, even the Capitol guard, it's disgusting that he died and that anyone died on that day. But she believed all this Q stuff that there's this thing coming. People still believe that it's not over yet. After Trump has already conceded and he said he's going away. And I feel really bad that people believe that. And I don't know where the hell this information is coming from, but I've been in the middle of it. Look, I would be the one person screaming it because I'm in the middle of it. And I talk to a lot of members of Congress. I talk to people in the Trump administration. I talk to people in the campaign. I would know if something came out. And it just, there was just never that chance of that happening.
Yeah, I mean, I've been seeing like a lot of stuff. Yeah, I mean, as you know, this video, Mike Lindell, he's in a plane going, Trump's going to be your next president for 4 years. He's very, very confident. I've seen like various, I don't know if they're ex-Navy SEALs or whatever. They look like they're some kind of ex-military explaining, here's what we know, why we know, and this is what's happening. And it's I get it, because there's videos and there's stuff out there that's very convincing, and it's like you don't want to tell people not to hope, but at the same time, the cycle of getting your hopes up and getting them dashed and feeling rejected, and like that does damage to somebody's soul for sure.
There's a combination of things happening right now that would radicalize people, and it's really scary. It's the same kind of stuff that happens in the Middle East when you get terrorists radicalized, where they have no hope and they're given some sort of little inkling of something. If they do X, Y, Z, it can get there. And I have a lot of folks who have worked in, oh my God, the deep state, and, you know, like CIA officials who have worked with this type of stuff. And it's the same kind of rhetoric that's coming out, and it's scary as shit to me. Like, look, I wanted Trump to win more than anybody else. There's stuff that, the fact that they keep saying it's a big lie that there was election fraud is bullshit. There was absolutely enough to investigate. There's enough to look into that something should be done. I interviewed, was it Jesse? Oh my God, I forget the last, is it Jesse Rogers? The truck driver who brought the truck full of ballots. I interviewed him on Sirius XM. We had a half-hour interview. This guy's got nothing to gain from coming out. He's got everything to lose. He's just, and he'll admit it, he's just a simple guy that saw something. He talked about these irregularities. He's got nothing to gain from it. This wasn't even looked into. The media just shot him down as a conspiracy theorist. I think they saw that he believes in aliens or something, and they shot it down. Something stupid I was reading about the other day on him. And they never really investigated this stuff. So again, don't tell me that the big lie is that there were election irregularities or there might have been fraud, because there's enough evidence to look into this stuff. So it's just, all of this just compounds at once. And I don't think people are looking at it from a 50,000 foot level and seeing well, this messaging is coming into this messaging. And then you've got people with no hope, and then people with no jobs, and they're trying to figure out where their next meal's coming from. And their hope was left in Trump winning. And so when you have this just groundswell and all this messaging coming in, that's providing hope and seeming dire, and people are more likely to believe anything at this point. It's just a really scary position to be in as a country. Sorry to get serious.
No, get serious. It's really well said. And then it's disgusting to just, at this point, I don't understand if there's anybody still believing what the mainstream media is telling them. It's no. You gotta, I would be, I don't know. I mean, maybe there are people out there who are still like, oh yeah, they're telling us the truth.
I'll show you. I'm sorry, I've been talking far too much, and especially to the other guests. I really apologize. But this is how bad it is. And if you're watching the video feed, I was wearing this hat, which is just a pro wrestling hat beforehand, the NWO hat. I really love this NWO logo. I took it off and put on this hat because I don't want people to think that I'm signaling that there's a new world order coming. It's some sort of insanity.
I wouldn't even think of that.
I just got off the phone before we started, 15 minutes before we started, with two friends of mine who they were laughing at me for saying, I think it's over. And they said, what? Are you kidding me? All the pieces are falling into place. They're all falling into place. And it's always, look at the signals and wait for the plan.
Now, you see, that false hope is extremely dangerous because it's distracting us from what we should be focusing on, what's actually happening and what we should be planning. So obviously, we're all losing our right to free speech. We're being censored on Facebook and Twitter and outed and possibly, reported to the FBI. All sorts of things are happening. Now Parler is down. Now we're scrambling to find a new app, and there's a million of them out there, and we can't all stay in contact anymore. So what we should be focusing on is one point of contact so that we can stick together. Because when the shit goes down, we at least need to know that we're not alone.
Yeah.
All this false hope of oh, no, it's not over. Just you wait until the 20th. No, man, it's over. And trust me, I've been saying it's not over for a real long time. Until after what happened on the 6th and after he conceded. And yes, he did concede.
Did he really concede?
Yeah.
He didn't say the words "I concede." He just
Okay.
said there will be a
The new
peaceful
administration.
To me, I feel like that's saying it's over, at least.
I think he's saying it's over, but he never said I concede. And that's where the Q people come in. They go, look, he never said. And if you look at the stars, you'll see that Saturn is just to the east of Jupiter, and that's when.
And you know what? If all that shit is true, great.
Yeah.
What an amazing thing that would be.
I hope I'm wrong.
Well, listen, that's when he said that, I'll work with the new administration. And I saw a major influencer on Twitter saying, what do you think he means by new administration? It's like, shut the fuck up, you fat fuck. You'll know who it is from that description. But it's like, shut the fuck up. I'm so tired of people like just stretching this shit out. Like it's so ridiculous. But like on the same hand, like, look, this is an attack on free speech. Both sides want to eliminate free speech just in different ways. So Democrats try to attach speech as violence. They tried it first in mainstream when Benghazi happened. And remember, they blamed it on that YouTube video. They were trying to jump on that and eliminate free speech that way by saying that, if you say something about Muhammad that causes violence, we should have some sort of regulations on that. And it's a very slippery slope from both angles. Republicans are a little bit more traditional where they want to ban porn in libraries, which I know that sounds stupid, but like looking at porn on computers and libraries is very important to our freedom. I know that, again, that sounds ridiculous, but once you restrict the access to that information, you can restrict it to anything. If you can label that as disgusting or disturbing and then ban it from a public library or a public service, then you can ban anything, and the slippery slope starts that way. So there are two different ways that the slope starts, but they end up in the same direction. And at some point, very quickly, both of them end up at criticizing the government as being offensive and something we shouldn't have.
Yeah, it's frustrating. So when Jessica, when you mentioned about what we should be focusing now, do you mean, in the next couple of years, who are we going to get to run for office? Is that what you're thinking in terms of, productive ways to look forward?
Well, I mean, I definitely think we have to find a way to keep our voices heard. If it's not going to be on mainstream social media, it's going to have to be somewhere else. I think it's important, like I said, that we all stick together. And yeah, we definitely need to find someone to replace everybody in government right now, except for like Ted Cruz and Marjorie Taylor Greene and like a handful of them who stuck to their guns with the election integrity. I really think both parties need to just be, overshadowed by something new, the Patriot Party. I think we need to have a new candidate. And I think 75 plus million people can absolutely fund a campaign to start a new party and replace them all. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm sure
the libertarians hearing this are like, what about us?
Well, libertarians have lost their minds.
I'm just like, I'm sick of it. I was a Democrat. I voted for Hillary in 2016. As shameful as that is to say, I did a complete 180 and I woke up and I saw the truth. But now I'm looking at the GOP like, you guys are full of shit too. We need something new. We need something real and authentic and something that we can trust.
And a woman at that rest area was furious. She said, today was the death of the Republican Party and the beginning of the Trump Party. Because all those people so many people are never going to vote GOP again.
No.
Do you think they know that, Tim?
What? Do I think the GOP knows that people aren't going to vote for them ever again? No. No. So I know that they just had their annual retreat where they vote on their new executive board members. And one of my friends is now a member of their executive board. And we had a long talk about it the other day. And they don't get it still. I mean, that's why you hear Mitch McConnell saying that, impeaching Trump this time around will help end Trumpism, kind of, or whatever. However, that was spun in the media, that he was looking forward to it. Like, it's not going away, and that populist movement is not going away, and they're just going to look for the next candidate. It's not going to be Trump in 4 years, by the way. Sorry, guys, it's going to be very old. At that point. No, he'll probably start his own media company.
I had that thought too, and as nice as it would be, I know he's going to be a lot older, 4 years older, and he's done so much. Like, you age so much in one term as a president.
I've aged in this term, and I wasn't even in it.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that would be doing a lot. I mean, if Trump's lasting legacy other than his presidency was to create some kind of media company, I think that would be great. And who knows, potentially doing more good than being in office, you know?
I think that's where it goes. But, as far as a third party coming up ever, don't wait up. Don't wait up for that. That's just the main parties will never, the Republicans and Democrats will never let that happen. And libertarians really dropped the ball this time around. I don't know what the hell they were thinking with Joe Jorgensen, that clown. By the way, fun fact, Chrissy, I don't know if I told you this or not, but I was actually, before they picked Joe Jorgensen, they asked me if I wanted to run as their candidate.
Whoa.
One of her major staffers asked me if I wanted to be the libertarian candidate for president. I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with you? It's like, what the fuck is wrong with you? And why? How is your pool that shitty?
Anybody?
They like literally asked me through a Facebook chat.
Oh my God. Wow. Like, what an honor. Oh man, I was like skeptical about Joe Jorgensen because I was like, all right, let's see what she's got. And then she like supported Black Lives Matter. And I was like, oh God, like what are they doing?
Well, the problem is this. Trump has a lot of libertarian views as far as like he was moving to the middle on social issues, the first ever president to be proactive with LGBT issues and hold a flag and the whole nine. And so when he started to move, he's old school Democrat. He's a conservative Democrat, really. So when he started to move to that middle and kind of get in that libertarian crowd, libertarians were like, they had no idea what to do. And I think they were scrambling for things to scream about. And it just seemed like they were all over the board to try to find things. And they landed on Orange Man Bad.
Wow. But what do you do if you have 75 million people who are not going to vote GOP and we don't have a real...
I mean, this is the party that put up Mitt Romney against Barack Obama, right? And John McCain against Barack Obama. You had an old curmudgeon war hawk up against a cool guy from Chicago. Like this is the same GOP. These are the same people in the swamp who just graduate up and take their $100,000 a year jobs at the GOP so they can go get a corporate job after. This isn't like moving the country. They don't believe. I think a lot of these people are just in transient positions to do their thing in the swamp and get out. And so, there aren't true believers like, this populist movement that was behind Trump and Bernie. And so, I don't know, man. I think the change has to come from the top, and I'm not sure that they're changing.
Tim, has there been anybody that you've seen that you're excited about to see who might run? Or, no. I mean, do you have any, there's no hope for you. Okay.
No, I don't know who the hell, I know Nikki Haley's already putting her team together and getting people to speak out against Trump and trying to be politically advantageous about this. I know that already from a couple of Congress people. I know a lot of the folks who are big donors, and so they learn the inside track on a lot of this stuff. And so Nikki Haley's been pushing things. I mean, I like Kristi Noem, but we'll see where she falls out, where she shakes out. But there will never be another Trump, and there won't be anybody in the ballpark of Trump.
Wow. Yeah, and I just worry because going back to, I guess I don't want to categorize these folks as a Q followers or whatever, because right, if it all becomes true, then great. But if not, it's like I feel like I need to prepare myself for what looks like is actually going to happen. And I hear folks saying like, make sure you have enough cash for a couple weeks, make sure you got your canned goods. I mean, like people are really worried about a civil war, and I don't know. Are you guys feeling this kind of worry, like looking around like, who do I know that has skills,
We're actually, we're pretty prepared. We're still lacking a lot of skills. Like we have the supplies, maybe not the skills so much.
How do you skin a buck? I don't know.
We're just gonna have to figure it out, trial and error, until we starve to death.
Yeah. I know. I'm like, I can do a French braid. I can make a fire.
But can you do a Dutch braid?
No, God, no.
Oh, you're fired.
Yeah, it's really scary at a time where it's like we need to not be fighting one another. We have to stick together and help each other and love each other. And then when you see somebody like, oh, it's like I did a freaking improv class with this girl 10 years ago. And it's always the people that like haven't seen or spoken to you in like 10 years. Or it's like, someone talking shit about me on the internet. It's like, I know what that's about. I know that's because I didn't book you at Comedy at Stonewall when I ran a show there for 6 years. And then it's like everybody likes to say, oh, I saw this coming, and I didn't. She's not an ally. It's like no, it's because I didn't book you because you weren't funny enough. And like, can that be what it's about? I don't know. It's very frustrating, and I don't want to fight these people. I'm happy to have them walk away and like unfriend me. It's like doing me a favor. It's making room for the new people, actual fans, people that will pay for tickets to come see me. So I don't know. How do you guys sort of manage, I don't know, feeling angry or getting shit from people online? Do you tend to fire back at the trolls, or do you just try to be like zen and ignore?
It depends for me, because some of them are just too stupid to be dealt with. So there's some I ignore, and there's some, like, if someone just lobs a meatball across the plate, you say, oh, this is gonna be a great way to make fun of this person, I'll absolutely do it. But I don't take it personally. I don't get angry. I used to, but I don't now. They're just idiots. They will vote against their own best interest because Orange Man bad.
Yeah. Tim?
Yeah.
I get death threats.
Death threats.
I get them. I get death threats regularly. It's fine. My favorite, though, honestly, of all the comic stuff that I get is occasionally people really hammer me, and they're like, you're not really a comic, and you like really didn't do open mics, and you sucked at open mics in town. And I'm like, okay, well, I viewed comedy as a business, and I loved politics, and I started doing this, and I've done well, combining the two. And if it's not your cup of tea, I don't care, because I've got enough fans to get through it. Like, I've got people that are bugging me if I want to run for office, and that might be the next level that I go to here. And so it's everybody. One of the best pieces of advice I got early on was don't pay attention to anybody else's career path, because everybody's unique and everybody can make it, and anybody can do it. And so, there's just a lot of people who, I guess, their lives suck, and they think that they're going to somehow affect me by saying so. Like, it really bothers me, though, not like emotionally, but for these people who send like 4-paragraph, 5-paragraph emails detailing, how they hate me and how I'm untalented.
That probably took a while. I mean, that's probably like a good 20 minutes to just write that email.
For me to scan it and send it to spam. I mean, like, I don't even like really thoroughly, it's TLDR, so like, but I've been robbed at gunpoint. It doesn't get worse than that. I'm sure, you guys in New York have gone through your own stuff. So I'm getting a death threat or whatever. I'm like, whatever, I've had a good run. Who cares?
It's like, yeah, I have people who are so afraid to write my name that they'll use clown emojis instead of using like letters of my actual name. And it's like, these people are not tagging me. It's like, these are pussies. I mean, it's everyone's taking their, I'm sorry to keep making this about me, but like, I just feel like I've read this book, like, So You've Been Publicly Shamed. And it's like, I keep seeing it come up and up again. It's like people who are doing nothing with their career. They're not building their own following. They're not building they're not honing their craft. They're not building a brand. They see somebody rise and they're like, oh, let's all take this person down. And really it's like, they're making it about them. It's like, oh, this is my time to shine. Everybody look at me shitting on this person that I haven't seen in 10 years. And I don't know, it's gross because it's like, it's so not a reflection of how I've treated people. And I go like, wow, I've given that person spots. Wow, I've worked with that person. Wow, it's like, I have been so nice to all these people. And it's like the vile, the disgusting comments that I'm seeing. It's like, wow, this is just because of what they think my political opinions are, and not because of how I treat people. It makes
I just had two friends of mine say, I can't believe Downey was such a racist that he voted for Trump. Never mind that I'm engaged to a Puerto Rican member of the LGBT community. That doesn't matter. What matters is if you vote for Trump, you're a racist.
Yeah, that rhetoric is old.
Lash out like that, especially when it's like someone that and you're starting to, have some success in your own life. It's all a projection. They're unhappy with themselves. It's not even about you. It's all about them. And now they're trying to find success in tearing you down and getting people to jump on the bandwagon. And like the difference between us and them is we are smart and mature enough to just look away, to avert our eyes. We don't watch CNN. We don't watch all the garbage or, you know, look at all the bullshit on Twitter. Unfollow, unfriend, block. It doesn't make you a shitty person. It doesn't make you immature to do that. It actually makes you very mature because you're telling yourself, I don't need to see this and I don't need this person in my life. Why am I inviting this drama? There's no need for it. I'm a better person without it.
Tim, are you a blocker? Or are you a muter?
I like muting. It depends. Like if there's an actual death threat, I block. But if it's somebody who screams at me, and what's really interesting, so I don't really pay attention to my alerts ever. And then like I'll occasionally have to take a dump, and I'll look at my phone, and I'll see like I'll look at somebody who's commented on something and been very angry about it, and then I'll realize that person had commented on like 15, 20 other tweets of mine, like in a row. And so what I do to that person is I hit the mute button so that they scream into the abyss and like continue like going on. Like all of their effort is a total waste of time, but I don't want them to know that I saw it. So like it's the old like you don't know I'm ignoring you, but I'm ignoring you. So I mean like it's just crazy, you know, like getting hated on professionally is such a weird thing for me because like nobody's really done what I do. They're not in the niche where I am, and they're not in that lane that I'm in with TV and radio and everything else that I do as a political comic. And so like getting hated on by some guy who was at like an open mic with me, or like there was actually a really famous podcast that tried to like egg me on to like get me to come on to their podcast, and they do very, very well. And I just ignored it when like I had all their fans were like trying to harass me, like I'll do your podcast, like, and they get listened to by like hundreds of thousands of people. And I'm just not gonna feed into it. I don't want it.
So you knew that they wanted to have you on like just to shit on you?
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, yeah, or even if they wanted to have a conversation, like I just wasn't going to do it. It wasn't worth my time. Even if they would have like paid me to do it, I wouldn't have done it. So, I mean, like that's the thing. Like I look at this stuff, and just for all the haters out there, I just checked before I came in. My Twitter in the past month was seen by like 130 million people. So, like, you know,
wow.
I don't give a shit. Like you can tell me that I'm awful all day long. And in fact, you know, when people comment on your tweets, it moves it up in the ranking on like trends and things. So like they're actually making me more visible by doing that. And a lot of people don't realize that. So like it's just all the stuff. Like I have never in my life spent a moment shitting on someone or like hating on someone else's career. And in fact, there are a lot of people who I am very, very diametric to politically. In fact, one of Joanne Reed's producers is a big comic now. And I won't say who it is, but she has a very distinct gimmick. And I told her that early on, and I was like, you're going to move very quickly in comedy, and you're going to be much more successful than a lot of people. And you're going to make a lot of money very quickly. And like Dave Chappelle noticed her immediately and picked her up, and she had only had like 10 minutes on stage. You know, like, so it's like, and I knew it. And like, you could see it. I could give a shit. I will never be that person. I don't have that gimmick. I don't have that shtick. I don't have her, you know, whatever. God bless her. You know, like, I don't care. Like, and in fact, I encourage her. Like, people should just do their own thing and just shut the fuck up about other people. Be positive.
Yeah. It's like these people are not going to pay your bills. They're not going to consume your art. They're not going to inspire you to make more art. So it's, yeah, maybe I should go from block to mute, but,
you got to do what you have to do for your own mental health though. Right. So like, if you feel better blocking people, block people. If you feel better turning shit off, turn it off. At this point, though, I really do like instead of Reader's Digest, imagine that like 30 years ago, people had Reader's Digest. They're reading like, you know, Old Man the Sea shit, taking a dump. And I'm reading like how people hate me while I'm taking a dump. So, you know.
Yeah, it can't be good for your psyche to like, and it's hard because I am somebody I will check like all my notifications because I'm like, oh, how many friends did I lose on Twitter today? You know, like how many followers, you know, like checking out the purge every day, and I look at my notifications and it's like, but the psychic and like spiritual effects of like constantly reading like bad comments about yourself, it can't be good. So
if your baseline is here, you know, and then happiness is here, then you're fine. My baseline is here. I'm good. I one of my good friends just left Congress, and he runs a distillery, right? And he hated Congress, and his baseline was here because it's awesome. And then he went to Congress, and it went to there.
Oh.
It sucks. Where like if I joined Congress, my baseline's here, and then it would go, eh. And so like, you know, there's a difference of like how our perspectives on the world are.
So the secret is low expectations then.
If you hate yourself to start with, you're in a good spot.
Yeah. I know, it's like nothing I read is gonna be as bad as like what I'm already telling myself. So yeah.
But you know what? You said something pretty interesting though. I feel like when people attack you like that, especially in such big numbers, they're giving you so much power.
Mm.
It's like that's really how you have to look at it. Like it's not, oh my God, all these people hate me. It's all these people think I'm so fucking important that they have to publicly hate me and get their friends to join in. Like that's how serious it is for them.
One of the first celebrities that hated on me was like the writer of Mrs. Doubtfire.
Really?
And I was like, I had to Google it. She had a blue check. I'm like, who the fuck is this? And I'm like, oh man, cool.
Did you write hello? With the
I forget what I said. I was like, it's been a slow career since Mrs. Doubtfire, huh?
Yeah, she's got a lot of time
That
in her hands.
don't movie though, don't.
Fun fact, by the way, here's a wrinkle for your brain. Mrs. Doubtfire was actually originally supposed to be the Home Improvement movie, and Tim Allen said no to it. Did you know
what?
that? Mm-hmm.
Well,
wait, how?
Mrs. Doubtfire was pitched as the Home Improvement movie, and Tim Allen said no, and then they moved on to Robin Williams and renamed it.
Oh my God! Wait, was Tim Allen going to be dressed as a woman then, like the same thing?
Yep.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't sound like it would have been as good.
No, it would have been awful.
Wow, that's so interesting. Well, man, you never know what I'm going to learn from my good friend Tim. I want to know, like, what are you guys excited about, feeling positive about? I think it's good to focus on that because I feel like there's a lot we can get down in the dumps about. I feel like this is me being a cheerleader, but yeah, I feel like I'm going to hang on to all my social media for as long as I can and just try to put out good, positive messages and even if it's like about supplements, or even if it's just like jokes, I don't know. I feel like all of that, just providing a light right now at a time where people are freaking out, it has got to be helpful.
Yeah, I would say that's probably a good idea.
I have no positive thoughts about this at all right now.
My positivity in all of this is I'm closing up my shop here in DC. I can turn around and show you I'm literally.
Yes.
And I'm sick of this town. I've been sick of this town for a while. And when I parted ways with local Fox here, I decided to shift back home, where I've never given up my Texas residency, to go back and work there on a bunch of stuff. And so why be here in this shithole if I don't have to be?
Yeah, DC has a real, and I don't know if you noticed this too, Kevin and Jess, but like DC has a real like dark, cold, almost sterile feeling to it. And it's like, yeah, New York City right now feels like everyone's, you suck the soul out of it and it feels weird. But like DC to me felt even worse. Like it's just, I don't know if there's just so much like evil in the air or like what it is, but like the vibe in DC is like not warm and fun or cozy.
Like it's like eerie. It's like not when you went there to visit it as a kid to see like all the history of it. Now you're there as an adult, and it's like when you go back to Disney and you see all the shitty, horrible things you never noticed before as a child, except it's way worse because it's DC. I know exactly what you mean. It's just like it almost looks like Soviet Russia, like when you're watching an old movie or something, or like Chernobyl or whatever. Just everything looks so dark. There's no color. There's no life.
Well, it's because everything's shut down too. Like almost every major bar, every trendy bar that any Politico would go to is now permanently closed because of the shutdowns here. Like everything is dead. I mean, this has been really crazy. Like when I originally did a live stream show for a bunch of outlets, and I filmed it in the basement of a bar that was built in like the late 1700s, early 1800s. It was like a haunted basement. It was really, really cool. That place has been closed for over a year now, like permanently, like because I think it was $30,000 or $40,000 a month rent, something stupid for them to stay open.
What bar was it?
It was called Stanton and Green. And so actually where the studio was and where I taped was under Pennsylvania Avenue. So like it actually went under the sidewalk and is out under the street. It's kind of cool.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, that's not going to help either, as everything being shut down and also permanently. That's so.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people are looking to move out somewhere. Not me. I'm stuck in New York for now.
Well, you know what's good about being in New York now is Cuomo finally changed his tune and he decided to say that we need to open again. We cannot remain closed. It's bad for the state.
2 days after Governor Whitmer in Michigan said it's time to open the schools, and Nevada said it's time to open the casinos on full by May.
Yeah, wonder what that's about. It's like, oh, how convenient.
Yep.
It's frustrating. But it's not frustrating. You guys, big fans of all of you. Let's go around and tell the good people of the internet where we can be found, followed, supported. Kevin, I'll start with you.
Okay. You can see Jessica and I this Saturday. We're doing a Zoom show from Governor's Comedy Club.
Ooh.
And we're on almost all of the social media outlets that they'll allow us to be on. What are we on, sweetie?
I don't know. We're still on Facebook and Twitter. We're on MeWe, Parler when it comes back, Gab, Clout Hub, whatever. Mine is always going to be at Jess effing C, JESSEFFINGC. And then you're just Kevin Downey Jr. But whatever, just look, you'll find us.
Tim?
I'm actually seeing if I can log into Gab right now. Gab is so janky.
Yeah, I've had trouble getting into Gab every time I tried.
I mean, all my stuff is Tim Runs His Mouth, and that's pretty easy to find. And I get, I get quoted by dumb shit all the time too. So like you'll see me in Fox News articles almost every week and stuff, and a lot of media stuff. If you just Google Tim Young, I pop up.
I love it. He's everywhere. Yeah. Oh yeah. We forgot to touch on the grifters, but I don't know. Maybe if that's opening up a can.
Hey, listen, all you have to do, the next big thing is coming. All you have to do is donate to their campaign. I'm sure they have, they don't have Patreon anymore. Just send them money. And the next big thing, they'll be the first to tell you that the next big thing is almost here.
Right. Yeah. If anyone's selling you hope, although do subscribe to my Patreon. Maybe I'll throw some nudes on there. Yeah, guys, thank you. No, every day someone's like, start an OnlyFans. And I'm like, I
was going to say, well, they took all of our videos off of Pornhub. So there goes that.
Oh, well. Damn. I had just podcast episodes on Pornhub, like just literally this, which, if someone jerks off to that, I'm flattered.
Man, whatever there is out there, there's a fetish for it. I promise you.
Someone is searching Redhead Podcast.
Oh God, yeah. You guys don't know where this microphone has been. It still smells funny. All right, thank you all so much for coming on. Love you all so much. We're gonna get through this or not. No, it will. It'll be great. Thanks, guys. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
See you later. Bye.